But this is, I read this quote or a story that Pamela DeBars was telling.
We had her on the site.
Sid Griffin, really?
Yeah,
she's
a
cool.
trip.
She's great.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how Graham used to play George Jones's records for people who'd never heard him.
Right.
And he'd start crying, and he'd say, "That's the king of broken hearts." And so when I read that, it was one of those things where the melody just came, and so I wrote part of it, and then I went out to Cap Rock. I was living out in L.A., and I wrote it out to Joshua Tree, and it was a full moon, and it was this place where Graham and Keith Richards used to hang out, and finished it.
Oh, I never knew that about the song. That's a great story. Thanks. King of Broken Hearts, Jim Lauderdale.
The king of broken hearts doesn't ask much from his friends, and he has quite a few of them. They know he will understand. It's just the way it goes. The king of broken hearts doesn't know he's a king. He's trying to forget other things, like some old chilly scenes he's walking through alone. He talks to angels and the stars start to spin. He thinks of troubles that he's gotten in. He recalls how his heart got broken and how it's still that way. The king of broken hearts is so sad and wise. He can smile while he's crying inside. But we know he'll be brave tonight, 'cause he's a king of broken hearts. He talks to angels and the stars start to spin. He thinks of troubles that he's gotten in. He recalls how his heart got broken and how it's still that way. The king of broken hearts thinks that he's an old fool. He's a little bit like me and you. So what's a king like that supposed to do with all that blue time? Well, you know he'll be brave tonight, 'cause he's the king of broken hearts. He's the king of broken hearts.
One of my favorite songs ever. That is,
Thank you.
That's a great song. Ooh, I get goosebumps. That's a.
Hey, listen, I'm getting goosebumps too. It's freezing in here, for crying out loud.
Where's the good weather in Austin when you need it? Right. Oh, it's snowing in New York. What the hell? You want to do one more? Why don't you do one of the Hunter songs?
Okay.
Your pick. Songwriter's pick.
I'll do. This is the title of the record that we did, and so far it's called "Headed for the Hills." And Gillian Welch is singing harmonies, and
love Gillian.
Tim O'Brien is on here. And,
no, there's a guy who can play. Shamelessly name dropping.
Byron House is playing bass, and but anyway, so it's called "Headed for the Hills."
Headed for the Hills.
Well, I forded the river and I paid all my bills, gave a gift to the giver. Now I'm headed for the hills. I paid all my borrows, likewise all my dues. I'll be gone tomorrow. Nothing here I can use. Headed for the hills. Headed for the hills. I can hear them calling. Headed for the hills. Can't roll off to glory, much less Arkansas or freedom territory, till you satisfy the law. No law of lock and chain provides me the key. No love-soaked law of Cain can set my spirit free. Headed for the hills. Headed for the hills. I can hear them calling. Headed for the hills. One thing I gotta do. One thing before I go is prove my love for you. It's all the love I know. If you don't forget me, I'll do the same for you. Forever in your memory, to pay back all that's due. Headed for the hills. Headed for the hills. I can hear them calling. Headed for the hills. I can hear them calling. Headed for the hills.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's great. Now, who came up with the title?
He did.
He did.
You know, like with that song, for instance, we've got a few different ways we write. When we first started, he was faxing me lyrics, and then he came to Nashville, and then during that process, I'd go visit with him, and we would just be conversing. Then all of a sudden, I'd get a melody, so I'd leave it with him on a cassette, and then I'd go back the next day or the day after, and he would have, you know, a completed with exactly, and I might have just been fooling around and maybe not had the right structure of the song, but he would have lyrics that would fit whatever I left. Wow. You know, even if it was a long thing or whatever.
Like a double verse end or something,
yes.
Or tag.
And so then when I went out to California in December, same thing, we got to sit together, and it'd been so long, 6 years, and so melodies were just kind of coming out, and I left him, and then he would come up. He's so creative. Wow. I mean, just it's wild with some of the things that I never would have dreamt of having a theme of a song or a title be what he's got, and they just all really seem to fit. And then he's been, now since I'm becoming kind of computer savvy and can get my emails, he has sent me recently a few things that have just like taken my breath away, just lyrics.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I think it's really wonderful that you've opened yourself up. A lot of songwriters get so completely self-contained and absorbed, they don't allow themselves that opportunity.
I'll tell you, that's one thing I am not, is self-absorbed. Yeah, so I don't worry. Jim doesn't worry about that.
Third person, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, I know you got a lot of stuff to do down here in Austin, man.
Thank you.
It was great hanging out with
likewise.
you. You know, we got to get together in New York and do some Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Come check